Hey guys, this is Dimitri and Josh releasing episode 2 of our Sunday book read.
Book review.
Book review, yes, we're still working on the title. You guys, be helpful if you suggest some things. So today's book we're doing Sam Walton,
Made in America.
Made in America.
What she wrote in his deathbed in the hospital.
Yeah, and like towards the last chapter it says, and if he never got sick, he probably never wrote this. So it goes to show that record as you do your things, because then it's even more motivational. There's more proof of what you're doing, and it shows, opposed to you remembering what you did, which memory changes over time. It makes it bleed different aspects. So we're just gonna dive right into the book if you're cool with that.
So just some background
Yeah.
of Sam Walton, Walmart, Sam's Club. When he passed away, his net worth, he was one of the richest people to ever have lived.
That's true.
That's
Alright, so I'm gonna just start with the first thing that I have written down is Sam Walton, value of dollar. Basically, this means that since growing up, he knew the value of a dollar, and I'm kind of raised the same way. Josh is as well, and that basically means that at a young age he was doing paper routes. He was hustling 3-4 in the morning, selling paper to get some money on the side, just to have money support, because he was born in a poor family, and depression hit. It was during the depression age where it hit really hard. At that point, just having $5-6 was the equivalency of like $100 right now because of just the lack of money being available. But he was hustling from the beginning age. He went to church on the weekend. He got to meet a lot of people. He made connections. This is before he was making connections for the point of selling stuff. He was just making connections. He's a very personal individual.
He was humble.
He was humble as well. Very humble. And also one of the things in the book, I don't know what page, but it said Secret to Leadership, where they say the way he succeeded was he spoke to people before he even spoke to you. For instance, let's say you're just outside walking down the street and you're in a business, any business, or just you want to connect with someone. Instead of waiting for them to approach you and say something, because they probably won't even. You go out of your way, you say, "Hi, my name is Dimitri, what you're wearing is awesome," or "I just want to let you know that there's a free show going on there." Just basically always being the first person to speak. Because maybe people will ignore you, but over time you'll get better at being communicational.
You'll get better communication skills.
Communication skills, thank you. And you'll just be more personable. And in this sales, which is what Walmart's all about, it's being able to speak to people on a daily basis, hourly basis, and a minute basis. You want to
And
chime
since
in?
he was so open, he would be able to point out things to certain representatives that will help them better themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole thing with his leadership. He didn't wait till the employees noticed the problem. He would notice the problem first because he was always in the stores. He always had Saturday meetings, looked at the numbers extensively.
And speaking of Saturday meetings, he said, the fact is, people are waking up 7 in the morning, traveling to Bentonville for a Saturday meeting, and even his Sam Walton's wife, Helen, was against it. She's like, "How dare you take people away from their family at that time?" So it wasn't just a Saturday morning meeting, like, "Hey guys, how are you doing? Everything's good, okay." It was a Saturday morning meeting where it was unpredictable in a sense. It cheered people up because they didn't know what they were doing, but what they did know was, the bottom line is, they were going to learn about each other, where they're succeeding, where they're failing. Failure is almost or even more important than success, because it shows you. For instance, they're saying, there's a store in Florida which is next to the beach. Why is it selling more towels than a store somewhere else, let's say in New Jersey, next to the beach? Why is that not selling as much? What's the draw? What's making it successful? What's not making it successful? Let's learn from each other. And one thing he also did was, he had people switch different roles. So you learn different aspects from the store. So you're not just one person who's like, "Oh, what do you do?" "I just do accounting." "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I just do packaging." No, you switch different roles so you learn about the business as a whole. From the beginning, Sam Walton was literally the man doing everything. His store closed at 5-6 p.m. He was traveling different stores to see what they were selling. He was writing notes. He had a notepad, and later he had a recorder room everywhere. Tell him a story about how it got taken by one of the...
Yeah, so when he was starting Sam's Club, he went into a wholesaler on the West Coast, and he's just taking notes, recording what he finds, and the security took it away from him, and he said, "I understand that it's your policy. We have the same policy in his store, but let me just write a message to the CEO's son." And he wrote a message to the CEO's son saying, "I understand that what I did was wrong, but I have notes on this recorder from other stores. Feel free to scrub out from your store, but please send me back the recorder with my other notes." And the CEO's son send back the tape without even deleting anything.
You see, that's also an important factor right there. Honesty. He was brutally honest. He said, I have notes. Yes, I have it on you, and I have on other stores as well. But I would really appreciate it if you didn't. If he said, oh, yeah, oh, I have nothing there, don't worry about it, it's my personal stuff, that would have been a lie, that would have been suspicious. But he was brutally honest, and you could see it in his expression, what he wrote, and people respected him for his honesty.
And another thing about the Saturday meetings, he believed that just because you were upper management doesn't mean you get Saturday off. Mm-hmm. If your employees had to work in Saturday because it's retail, so did you.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. He treated everyone equally.
Yeah. In other aspects, when he was opening up his stores in the beginning, he was doing whatever it took creatively. Basically, he had a popcorn machine outside, he had a cotton candy machine, they rented a boat, and they were selling TVs out of it. Basically, it was to draw people in for the products, then have them buy other stuff after. But you always draw people in. What's special about you if you're just a big discount store? What's special about you? That's the thing. He has something to draw people in. So you have kids now eating popcorn. Now they're full, they go in the store and they shop. So you have entertainment for kids, you have entertainment for adults, you have entertainment for everyone. So there's a reason people come there for more than just one thing, which is shopping.
And you could apply that today. What makes your website, your video stand out compared to anyone else's?
Yeah.
There's content being made in boatloads right now. So what is gonna make you stand out? That's the whole thing. Sam Walton knew that, and that's why he even had a donkey at one time, a little donkey ride, an actual donkey. And guess what? They didn't always go over great. I remember there was a story that they had a TV for like $20 on Black Friday, one TV, and you had to find it, and they tore through the store. But guess what? It got people in the store.
It did, and that's what he's saying. Failure, right? You learn from your failures, and it's also important to just keep trying, keep going at it. And I'm gonna read some other stuff I have. So one important way to determine if a company is not just profitable and how it does, is ask the people who work there. So he doesn't have anyone considered employees, they consider them associates, which basically means he's saying that they're all part of the company. And that means ask them how they feel about the company. He had one store open up in some lower economic region, and he saw that store was performing the worst. They had like about 8% people stealing from the store, and that was because no one gave a fuck about it, basically. Managers didn't care, they're like, oh, it's a low economy housing area, so that's what they do, and that's what we expect. And someone was like, no, you don't expect the negative in people, you see the positive in them. You give them responsibility, you motivate them to work there, and that says, you give people sharing profit. Basically, we said that depending on how good you do, we'll give you free stock. And some of these people who are working minimum wage, let's say $7 an hour, their stock benefit, 100K, 200K over 5-10 years. Because they believe in the company, they invest in the company. And it goes to show that when you invest in a company financially, besides just time, because time, we all spend time in the company, then you care about it more. So he saw that if people care about it internally, people coming outside will be happy to come in there. And again, it's the same concept. He has people greet them at the door. Speaking of which, greeters was a genius concept. I don't remember what store he discovered it in, but he bought it. Again, it goes back to show. He traveled around. He traveled to Japan. He traveled to Europe. Traveled to Asia, other areas to see how they were doing, see how international was doing, see if it was bring something back. And one of those things was greeter. The idea is like if you have a security guard up front at this when they enter the store, it's gonna look intimidating. They're not gonna feel necessarily like, oh, what's going on there? Is this something bad here? But instead, he had a greeter. He said, hi, welcome to the store. And the idea of a greeter is that means it's always someone watching. And he wasn't like a big burly guy. He was a normal guy.
Older person.
Older person, exactly. Who looks harmless, who's a greeter. He'll say hi to you, but also he's doubles as a security guard because he'll see, hey, someone's stealing. And discourages people to steal, which is very important. Think outside the box.
Another point about caring about the employees, the profit share and stuff like that, that's something companies still don't get to this day. Sam Walton knew that the company's only as strong as its employees. I know the customers, they say it's customers number one. No, employees are first, customers are second. Because you need employees to deal with the customers.
And they're the face of the business as well. If someone goes into your place and they're not happy, why would you be happy? Why for them? If they feel miserable or desperate, like, I don't want this. I don't know what's wrong with this company. I don't know what's wrong with this person. What's wrong with the situation? And also, speaking of employees and everything, the idea is like, if you have an issue, you don't add another layer. I think he only had about 4 layers in total, which is associate, management, direct manager, and then CEO. So if there's an issue, you don't add another layer to this card. You fix the problem. You go, okay, so my manager has a manager, managers have a manager, there's an associate manager, there's 5 different managers before it goes to a director. Do you know how much stupidity and how hard it is to check every different aspect?
It's a game of telephone.
Yeah, and again, he also had an open policy,
Yeah.
open door policy, which means you go inside, you can talk to CEO, you could speak to Sam Walton. He spoke to truck drivers because he knew they were traveling around the world, they were doing the most exploration, sea. So he was doing everything, he was speaking to everyone. No matter how low on the tone pole, there's no low tone pole for him. Everyone is equal. Everyone works hard, and he had associates who he let him, hey, he's been working here a couple of years, he's been proving himself, let me give him a manager position because they care about the business. And also, like you were saying before, profit sharing.
Yeah.
Some companies do have profit sharing, but it's usually for manager and up, not for like low level.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're like, manager cares about it, but people working underneath the manager doesn't care.
Yeah.
So how do they motivate a person? Like, you have to do the work because we pay you?
No.
Yeah, sure, but then the most valued commodity is time. And people understand that. If you're going to spend, here, people spend like 10, 20, 30 years working at Walmart. There's a driver who worked, I believe, 30 years there, and he has $700,000 from profit sharing from the company. And he was not a manager, he was like a regular driver. So that's the point. Believe in the people who work for you, and that will have positive effects coming out.
Like, look at the Apple store. Everyone there loves their job, and that's why Apple makes so much money.
Yeah.
Because of that. So if you take back the truck driver, Sam Walton was humble enough to sit down with the truck drivers and just speak to them on what the stores are throwing out, what's not getting sold, because they're there before the store opens, and they're there after the store closes, which means they're the first ones in and the last ones out.
Yeah.
So he always tried to find out what worked and what wasn't working in the stores. And that's why information was key. And he invested a lot of money into getting a satellite system before any real companies had that.
He was also resistant about it because he said, make sure that we need it, because again, value the dollar. Even if you're worth millions, billions of dollars, you want to know what you're spending on actually has valid way of making some sort of benefit. Not necessarily money down the road or now, because I think the first 2-3 years they were losing money because of that. But in the long run, their data center is the biggest one in the world. It's bigger than Google, it's bigger than Amazon, and they're a warehouse, dude. That's crazy. It shows how much money he spent on technology. Even back in the day, he went to a IBM class when computers were just coming out, and he knew he couldn't learn it, but he knew that people there were smart and were thinking about the future, and he invested in the people in there.
Same thing with the distribution. Why pay another company to do it? Doesn't sound like a lot, 1%, 2%, but it adds up, and that's why since they do their own distribution, they save money in the long run, which allows them to sell stuff cheaper than even Amazon today.
Yes, that's true, and that's what was one of the competing benefit of Walmart versus Kmart was that Walmart had its own trucks, its own distribution center, and then you're wondering, so if we open a distribution center, how far away can a store go? And his was based common sense, but genius in the sense that he said, drive your truck or a car a whole day's worth, and how far it can go, that's where the limited distribution center is. So you can cover a whole radius based on 1 day. His is 1 day delivery to any store.
So if a product was sold out and it was a high moving product, the store could get the next day.
Yeah.
And since he invested in the computer system and the satellite system, right when they went out of stock, the truck already knew to
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, very. And I have 2 quotes in the book that I just want to read. Chapter 15 is called Thinking Small, page 321 in the ebook. I'm going to read it out loud. My favorite buyer program is one called Eat What You Cook. Once a quarter, every buyer has to go out to a different store and act as a manager for a couple of days in the department he or she buys merchandise for. I guarantee you that after they've eaten what they cooked enough times, these buyers don't load up too many moon pies to send to Wisconsin or beach towels for Hiawatha, Kansas. By the way, Hiawatha, Kansas is inland. Basically goes the idea that as they were experimenting throughout the store, for instance, they sell moon pies to certain areas where, like to the east. Basically, moon pie is a very famous, popular dessert in the south, but to the east, no one knew about it, so they bought a shit ton of moon pies, sent them to the east. People were like, we don't eat that. So it's the idea that you have managers go to different stores, different locations to learn about different venues, different aspects of working at a store. Because, to be fair, although a store could be 400 miles away, 500 miles away from each other, there's always a parallel between them. There's always some sort of connection between each store. So you can learn from that.
And speaking about the moon pies, because of that, they turned that negative, buying too many moon pies into a contest, a yearly moon pie eating contest. So guess what? Even though they overstocked it, they moved it in this contest and they drove business.
Yeah.
Turning a problem into a solution.
Yeah. And one more quote, chapter 12, page 260. It's when you start out as an unknown quantity with just a dream and a commitment, you couldn't buy a mention of your company in one of these publications. When you become moderately successful, they still ignore you unless something bad happens to you. Then the more successful you become, the more suspicious they become of you. Bar the door. Suddenly you make a very convenient villain because everybody seems to love shooting at who's on top. Basically, this is in regards to how Walmart's considered the killer of small businesses. Although, if you read the book Sam Walton, Making in America, you know that he started out in small areas of population of 50,000, 25,000, 100,000. Bigger stores would not go because they're like, what's the point of us going there? It's just a small community. But he started in small communities. That's how he grew bigger. He himself went in a plane. He had his own plane, drove around real estate, finding areas, seeing, oh, this area is big enough. This is a lot of people coming in and out. Let's build a store here. Let the people come to us, so coming to the people. He started coming to 50,000 though. And he kept building and building and building out. So he's not a small store killer. He himself said that there's ways of beating them. Because their distribution,
Superstore.
Superstore basically means they sell a bunch of different items there. I mean, we all know Walmart. You can buy a gun, you can buy food, you can buy tent. You can live in Walmart. Let's just be honest. People have done that before. Not encouraged. But you can live in Walmart. And he said you could beat them. You can maybe not offer a cheaper price than them because they have a really great deal. But you can be specific. You have a niche in a certain area. You could, for instance, there was an example.
Paint store.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Tell them.
It's a paint store. So a lot of the associates, when they asked about certain kind of paint, they didn't carry it because they carried the general ones. So what they did was they will recommend a local paint shop that did carry it because they're not going to stock on every single thing, arts and crafts. They're not going to have the finest brushes, but they'll direct you to where there is one. So if you're around a Walmart and you're in one of these specialty markets, guess what? You're still going to get sales even more because the people in Walmart who didn't know you existed will get referred to you.
And I was thinking about it this way. It shows what kind of people work in Walmart. They're like, instead of trying to sell you on their product, they're like, hey, look, we don't have that product. We have other products you might need or in other areas, but there's a store near the next store that will help you what you need. It shows people themselves are honest. They're not just working there for the sale of selling something. They're honest. They care about the people because they know, like in your business, like you've seen throughout, you don't want to lie to someone and say, hey, we don't have that. We can have something else for you. You're like, no, okay, I can do this for you. I can't offer that for you if we don't have it as a business, but there's someone else who's there. So that means in the future, they'll come to you for other areas because they are saying your honesty, they're saying who you are as an individual. And again, in the beginning, everyone who works in a store is basically, they're the brand of the store. They're showing who the store is, who the people is. They're showing who Sam Walton is. Sam Walton's Walmart would be nothing without people working there.
And that's the whole thing. Even in his later years, he would travel to Mexico with a tape measure, notepad, and recorder, and just measure out how the spacings were on the shelves. Guess what? He ended up in the prison, and they called the prison saying, you got one of the richest people in the world in your prison. That's the CEO of Walmart. Because he was that humble. He never lived above his means. Mm-hmm. He didn't have some crazy big mansion. Mm-hmm. He had his own plane, but it was a small plane that he flew around with his dogs to go quail hunting and just go scope out locations. And that's the whole thing. He was a humble man. That's basically it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it basically says itself. Be humble, know the value of your dollar, invest in future, such technology, invest in people who work for you, and just keep it real, I guess.
Yeah, that's it, guys.
All right, thank you.